Hello, TK students. It's Mrs. Bellatash, and I am near the turtle tank in the science lab, and I see my turtles swimming around inside the water. So turtles like to live in the water, but they still breathe air, so they have to come up to the top of the water to take a big breath. But they can hold their breath for such a long time under the water. And over here, I have some tiny little fish. I think you can see them. They're called guppies, and they're tiny, tiny little fish. I thought I'd take a minute and say hello to the turtles. Hello. So my turtles, these two are called red-eared sliders. Do you see that red stripe on their head? That's not their ear, but it kind of looks like it could be their ear, right? And so they're called red-eared sliders. And the other one, I don't know what it's called, but it's not a red-eared slider. They like to swim around in my water. Here are the guppies. So they're kind of small. They're small little fish, but they're not babies. These are grown-ups. These are adult fish. There are some babies in there, but they are really tiny. They are teeny tiny little babies in there. Most of those fish that you can see in here, those are grown-up adult guppies. Here are my goldfish. They're adults too. They're bigger. And they have different colors, but notice that they all have kind of the same body shape. They have kind of like a long oval, and their tails have like a little V at the end. Hello, little fishies. They have a nice little fish tank to swim around in. Fish. But I thought I would sit here in front of them and read a little book to you. The last time I was with you, we did soil painting, which was awesome. I just loved that. And I'm going to read a little book to you right now so we can learn a little bit more about what is in soil. And that's the question. What is in soil? Rocks are all around you. The soil under your feet has rocks in it. Some of the tiny rocks and minerals in soil are called silt. Silt is smaller than sand, but it's bigger than clay. Sand, clay, gravel, and pebbles can be in soil too. So these kids are digging in the dirt, right? We dug in the dirt when we were gonna get the soil for our soil painting. When plants and animals die, they become part of the soil. Plants and animals decay into tiny pieces called humus. Now, I like to eat hummus, but this is not the same thing. Hummus comes from chickpeas, and that's delicious to eat. Humus is the organic part of soil. And I don't like to eat it, but worms and things like that do. Humus provides nutrients for plants. It also helps the soil hold water. So there you go. You see that nice black soil. What is this animal that lives in the soil? Oh my goodness, it is a really big worm, isn't it? It's a worm. Worms are good for soil. They burrow through the soil. They break it apart and they eat the humus. Worms help plants grow by mixing and turning the soil. Well, the worm is kind of like a digger, right? It's helping to mix and turn the soil. Not all soil is alike. Some soil has more humus. Remember, humus is the organic part, leaves and roots and things like that. Some has more clay or sand. Some has more pebbles and gravel. What differences do you see in these soils? Okay, so let's take a look at these two soils. Look at this one. This one has so many big rocks. And this one has a lot of fine rocks and maybe some organic matter. You see all the leaves? Yeah, they are very different. They look very different. Okay, so what is humus? Humus is that organic part of the soil. Plants and animals that have died and are decomposing or decaying. What does humus do for soil? Well, it helps the soil hold on to water. It's like a sponge, and it gives nutrients to plants. How are worms good for soil? Oh, they're good diggers, right? They help mix up the soil and bring oxygen and air down into the soil. All right, boys and girls, that was fun. We have not done work in our science notebook for such a long time. I hope you haven't lost it. Anyway, will you get out your science notebook and you're going to turn to the next page. And the last time we had written about rocks could be smooth or bumpy or something like that. Go to the next page. And it's a blank page. It doesn't have a question on it, okay? And at the top, you need to put your name. I put Mrs. B. And this page, I want us to talk about soil. We just read a book about soil last week we did some soil painting, which was so much fun. I'm sorry I keep talking about how fun it is, but I loved that. Okay, and this time what I want us to do is I want us to put some soil on our paper. So what I did is I got some tape like this, and I had a little bit of soil on a plate, and I took my piece of tape and I stuck it into the soil like that. And then I'm putting it on my paper. So I want to have a few things like that on my paper that have soil. So I want us to be able to see some soil on the paper. So here's mine. And I put some extra tape over top of it so it wouldn't come unstuck. Okay? And then I thought we could write a sentence. And I start every sentence with a capital letter. So I have a capital S, soil. And then I use 2 finger spaces so that there's plenty of room between my words. Soil has rocks and you notice I have space in between my letters, in between my words. Humus. Humus is the organic matter. And I put a period at the end of my sentence. Nice job doing work in your science notebook, boys and girls. Very, very good. Next week, we are going to take a look at some of the things that change organic matter into good, dark soil. We're going to look at some recyclers. See you next week, guys.